What's up, loyalists? What's up, heretics? It's Abe Dominus Noob back here again with more Warhammer content, and this video is about my favorite top 10 Horus Heresy novels. The Horus Heresy is a prequel to Warhammer 40k, and the events of it shaped the grimdark galaxy as the decaying, war-torn corpse of a setting that we're so fond of 10k years later. Naturally, it's an epic adventure, and naturally GW milked the living hell out of it. This behemoth of a book spans 54 books, not including the novellas and the Siege of Terra, which is daunting in itself. This thing is so long that the listening time is actually longer than One Piece. This video isn't about which books you need to read in order to fully understand the series. This is just me ranting about which 10 books are my absolute faves. And if you are subscribed to my channel, you'll probably like them too. But before I get into that, don't forget to subscribe. I've got plenty more top 10 lists, book reviews, and theory videos, and I'd love for you to be there for the journey. Also, if you don't, I'll send Conrad Kurz to your birthday party, and he's likely to bring a human skin cake with him. Don't ask what the frosting is made out of. Number 10 is Master of Mankind by Aaron Dembski Bowden. This book about the War of the Webway, you know, when Magnus burst into the throne room like a warp-infested Kool-Aid man, this genius created a warp rift right where the Emperor was working on the Webway project. And well, it made for a pretty great book. Supposedly, this book is supposed to be about Jimmy Space himself, but he's not in it very much, and he really isn't even the main character. However, this is the most screen time and the most dialogue we get from him until the very end of the Siege of Terra. It gives you his backstory, how his future sight works. He gives various life lessons to his only friends besides Malkador, the Custodes. And the Stodes, of course, are the real main characters, and the vast majority of the book is these guys fighting a losing battle against the Chaos Demons, the Word Bearers, and one of the most powerful demons we've ever seen in 40k, the Echo of the First Murder. Also, it features two of my favorite characters in 30k, Zephon, the Bringer of Sorrow. He's a Blood Angels vet, and the most depressed character I've met since Corvus Corax. Then there's Arkan Lan, a tech priest that's so innovative that he's basically Belisarius Cawl before Belisarius Cawl. Did I mention he walks around with a robot monkey on his shoulder that he created all by himself? Yeah, that by itself is a reason to pick up the book. Number 9 is Fulgrim by Graham McNeil. This is Fulgrim's kind of sort of origin to the Horus Heresy, his fall to chaos, and the start of his crackhead era, and the rest of the Emperor's children too. This book is amazing to me because of all that stuff I just talked about, but also because it shows one of the best brohoods amongst the Primarchs, his friendship with Ferrus Manus. These guys were so cool, and how they became friends was so awesome. Seeing this made Fulgrim's betrayal and their battle on Isstvan 5 even more dramatic and sad. Plus, we have some really awesome Emperor's children falling into depravity. Fabius motherfucking Bile is experimenting on his brothers. Lucius is going from bad to worse, and his fall really started earlier than everyone else's. And then Eidolon is becoming an abomination in his own way. Also, the human point of view characters fall to chaos along with the Space Marines, and most of them are artists whose art becomes something terrifying, and their fates are even more fucked up than EEC, if you can believe that. If you really want to read a messed up book, you need to jump into Fulgrim. Sorry about my phrasing. Book number 8 is Angel Exterminatus, also by Graham McNeil. It's the Perturabo and Fulgrim buddy cop novel, if the buddy cops are after each other's throats. Fulgrim comes to Perturabo with the promise of a doomsday weapon that can win the war, but he needs Pert and the Iron Warriors' help to achieve their objective. Naturally, Peter Turbo and his sons don't trust the Emperor's children at all, but they reluctantly agree to help them. This book is amazing because we get to see the contrast between the two legions and how disgusted the Iron Warriors are with the Emperor's children's debauchery. Pert's sons are awesome characters, and especially Kroger. He kicks so much ass, and I love to see how varied their personalities can be, and how even the most atheist of Space Marines might interact with chaos. Also, I know he's hated, but Perturabo has so many sick moments in this book. Definitely the most competent of the Traitor Primarchs. There's a lot of amazing dialogue and one of the best duels in all of the Horus Heresy, talking about Lucius versus Shirokin of the Raven Guard. I don't want to talk about it too much because I really don't want to spoil what happens in this one, but you need to check out this book if you're a fan of either Legion or Lucius getting his ass beat. Book number 7 is Wolfsbane by my guy, Guy Haley. It's the Space Wolves book where Leman Russ takes his Legion and goes straight for Horus's throat. Sorry about the phrasing. It's the book that made me like Leman Russ because you get a lot of good lore about the beginning of him and Horus's relationship and how jealous Horus was of the second found Primarch. Bjorn the Fell-Handed, who at this time is known as Bjorn the One-Handed, he's here and he's one of my favorite space wolves. Plus, you get more of my boy Gavriel Loken, who was the man who scouted the Vengeful Spirit in the book Vengeful Spirit, maybe go check that out, so that the Space Wolves can even go for this mission. Also, we get copious amounts of Malkador, who is probably one of the most entertaining characters in all the Horus Heresy. Then, for no reason at all, we get Belisarius Cahl's origin story. Does it have anything to do with this story? No. Is it fucking awesome? Hell yes. So if you're interested in Russ and Horus, Crazy Ass Duel, or any of the other highlights I suggested, add Wolfsbane to your reading list. Book number 6 is Thousand Suns by Garam McNeil. It's the premier book of the Thousand Suns Legion and the almighty Magnus the Red. It shows the Legion's origin story, the introduction of Azek Ironman, one of my favorite characters in the whole setting. The main event is the infamous and tragic Battle of Prospero. Man, thinking about it brings a tear to my eye. The story is really amazing, and the way the Thousand Suns operate, how overpowered Magnus is, plus his rivalry with Russ, make it one of the best books. Also, there's the mortal point of view characters. Their story is so good that it's worthy of being its own book. Plus, we get some Lorgar in the book, and Lorgar is always the GOAT in books that don't feature him. Well, except for Slaves to Darkness, of course. Character assassination. I will say that this book doesn't do any favors for Russ, the Wolves, or Mortarion. This book made me hate all of those characters, and I didn't forgive Leman Russ until like 30 books later. So if you're a fan of any of those characters, they're here, but they're probably not the best versions of themselves. At the end of the day, read Thousand Suns so that you can understand why all is dust. Book number 5 is Fear to Tread by James Swallow. It's the Blood Angels novel in the Horus Heresy, and by the blood, it's a good book. It shows Sang and Horus's early relationship, their brohood, which was very good to see. It's a top-tier Primarch relationship. They're not just both superhero generals. They genuinely feel like two brothers that love and care about each other. And it talks about how the Blood Angels deal with the early signs of their gene flaw and how Horus takes advantage of that after the Heresy kicks off. A top-tier betrayal in 40k. This book features a ton of Sanguinius when most Horus Heresy novels don't even have a lot of the Primarchs in them. He's the greatest loyalist Primarch, and that is enough reason to dive into this book. All of Sang's captains and lieutenants are amazing characters, and they play great main and supporting roles throughout the book. And then Kabanda is here, the Bane of the Ninth Legion, and his duel with Sanguinius is breathtaking. And the Word Bearers and Erebus, they're here, and they're the true villains, and you know stuff is about to get messy when these murder priests are involved. I really enjoyed this book, and whether you like the Blood Angels or not, I feel like this is a must read as far as the Horus Heresy goes. Book number 4 is The First Heretic by my favorite Black library writer, the venerable Aaron Dembski-Bowden. It's not just the Word Bearer's entry into the Horus Heresy, it's almost the entire reason the Civil War popped off in the first place. It involves the destruction of Monarchia and Lorgar's subsequent rage and depression, followed by the Bearer's entry into the Eye, where they go to find their new gods. The storytelling is A1. The characters are all beautiful, and you end up cheering for most of them, even if they don't deserve it. Argel goddamn Tall is here, and it shows how he became a half-demon. His relationship with Rom, that's the demon's name, is the major highlight of the book to me. This isn't quite spoilers, but the Battle of Isfahan 5 is here, and besides the Dropsart Massacre book, which I've already done a review on, it's the best depiction of said massacre I've read in the entire series. So read The First Heretic and become a filthy traitor like me. Trust me, dude. It's almost worth it. James Swallow was cooking again with book number 3, Flight of the Eisenstein. It's the 4th book of the Horus Heresy following Horus Rising, False Gods, and Galaxy Burns. All excellent books that lead to this barn burner of a novel. It takes place right after the Dropsite Massacre, book 3, not the recent novel, and introduced a new character, Nathaniel Garo, a loyal Death Guard who had the balls to believe his best friend over his legion. He gets a main quest in the form of carrying the news of Horus's betrayal to the Loyalists before they can cause even more death and damage to the Imperium's infrastructure. One of my favorite scenes is him standing up to Rogel Dorn, which is crazy because Lord Adornable can end him in a nanosecond. Nathaniel has the Ceramite balls, the Auramite balls to call this man blind. to his face. I'm sorry if that's spoilers, but you gotta read the book just for that by itself. Probably read the first 3 books before you jump into it so all the moments can hit you with the full impact that they're supposed to carry, but this is definitely the best of the first 4. Book number 2 is No Fear by Dan Abnett. It's the Ultramarine book where they're betrayed by the word bearers at Calth. This book will literally change the way you look at the Blueberries. They're not just blueberry Boy Scouts with plot armor. These loyal Space Marines feature characters full of diverse personalities, different battle philosophies, and personal goals. And the end of the world scenario they face when the word bearers basically decimate them with the almost perfect ambush. Rabute Gilliman is here, and I had to use this man's real name because he was phenomenal in No Fear. So he's not one of the featured characters because he doesn't really have that much screen time. However, the parts that he's there paint him as one of the most badass characters in all of the Horus Heresy. Gilliman has so many sick moments, and you can see why they only used him for those critical times in the book. And let me tell you this, Gilliman actually angry, Gilliman actually enraged, it's a thing to behold. I truly love this character, and though he's no Sanguinius, he's probably my second favorite Loyalist Primarch. Lorgar and the Word Bearers are here, and they fuck shit up, but Corferin is kind of the mastermind of the invasion of Calth, and he does serve as the final boss of the book. So don't be disappointed by that though, because he puts in some work too. You won't be disappointed with No Fear as a product in general, and this book just kind of came out of nowhere for me when I started it. It's a 10 out of 10 Warhammer book in general, and it's some of the best that the Horus Heresy has to offer. Finally, we get to my favorite book in Horus Heresy, and it's just one of my favorite books, period. You might be able to guess what it is because of how much I talk about the traitors, but my favorite book is Betrayer by the legend Aaron Dembski Bowden. This book features Lorgar, who, since the first Heretic, has gone from punk-ass bitch to full-fledged badass warlord chaos priest. And then there's Angron. Oh, Angron. Angron probably has the most tragic and messed up background out of all the Primarchs, and he's tag teaming Ultramar alongside Lorgar. This book explores Lorgar's full heel turn in ways that No Fear couldn't even do, and it explores Angron's pain, grief, and rage like no other novel can do. Those two working together and forming a brotherly bond is really amazing writing and characterization from ADB. It's even more crazy once you get to the end of the book and see what the relationship evolves into. No spoilers though, you just gotta go read the book. Then, the secondary characters are no other than our boy, Argo Tal, our favorite half-marine, half-demon in the setting, and his best friend forever, the Jason Voorhees of the series, Karn, the equerry of Angry Ron. Their brotherhood is something that every set of best friends should be striving for. Argo Tal's quest to protect Karn after hearing bitch-ass Erebus' prophecy, a vision of him dying in the main battle, is crazy plot point. Also, fuck Erebus. All my homies hate Erebus. This book shows Angry Ron's backstory and him return to his home planet for one of the most satisfying revenge quests in all of fiction. This shit is more satisfying than watching Uma Thurman in Kill Bill, who in all fairness is probably one of Khorne's other strongest soldiers. Plus, it shows us why these guys and the Space Wolves have such a heated rivalry. Leman Russ is actually spitting bars in the book, and I read this before Wolfsbane, so understand, his small part in this book is awesome, because I hated this guy at the time. This book's other main character is the most badass lady in the Horus Heresy, debatably, Latara Seren. She's the young captain of the Conqueror, and even though she's 100% lady, she's got more nuts than planters. This lady stands up to Angron all the time and keeps his sons in their place on the regular. She wants all the smoke, and you don't have a lighter, my friend. So I'm getting too far into spoiler territory because I really love this book, and I would love to do a full summary of it, but I really think you should go read it for yourself if you haven't. And if you have read it already, you probably understand why this is my favorite Horus Heresy novel. It's a 10 out of 10, and I promise reading it is a good look for you. Well, that's the end of the video. What's your favorite Horus Heresy novels? Tell me what you think, and tell me why you think my list is trash if you do so. Tell me what other books should be on it. It's okay to flame me in the comments. All opinions are welcome here. But until next time, it's Ave Dominus Noob saying Ave Dominus Nox.